This is Miss Pam, and today we're reading a book about Lena Horne, The Legendary Miss Lena Horne by Carol Boston Weatherford. Okay. The Horne family tree was laden with achievers, teachers, activists, a Harlem Renaissance poet, the dean of a black college, and Lena's grandmother, Cora Calhoun Horne, a college graduate. Lena's father, Teddy, had other ideas. A street hustler, he lived high on the hog, had fine clothes and fancy cars, never went to jail, and eventually owned a hotel and restaurant. Lena's mother, Edna, was an actress in a touring troupe. The day Lena arrived, Teddy bet out a card game to pay the hospital bill. June 30th, 1917, Brooklyn, native New Yorker Lena Horne was born into freedom's struggle. At 2, she became not just one of the youngest members of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, but also a cover girl for the NAACP branch bulletin. When Lena was barely a toddler, Teddy left for Pittsburgh and turned his smarts to becoming a gambling kingpin. Her stage-struck mother hit the road too. Little Lena stayed with her grandmother Cora in the family's 4-story Brooklyn townhouse. Cora had high standards and drilled into Lena good manners, black pride, and the value of a well-rounded education. Lena learned to read before kindergarten. Books were her lifelong love, a haven from hardship and heartache. Cora enrolled Lena in drama and dance lessons, but would not hear of a show business career. Not for respectable folks, Cora said. Cora had high hopes for her granddaughter, but at a tender age, Lena got toted along as her mother chased bit parts in vaudeville. Lena lived out of a suitcase, shuttled between relatives, boarding houses, and homes that took in children for pay. Being on the road with her mother was rough, especially down south. Lena's shoes never fit, and her feet always hurt, because stores did not let blacks try on shoes before buying. A black cast member was lynched, and a black guest was beaten at the rooming house where Lena and her mother were staying. Lena longed for home. Back under Cora's wing in Brooklyn, Lena attended an integrated all-girls school, one of the city's best, and joined a debutante social club. During the Great Depression, Lena left school and moved in with her mother and new stepfather, both jobless. As money ran out and breadlines grew, Lena's mother decided to put her on stage. Lena auditioned at the fabled Cotton Club, Harlem's hottest night spot and valet parking, sizzling black musical revues, waltzing waiters, and no mingling between the black performers and an all-white audience. "I had no talent," said Lena. "All I had was looks." Just a teen, Lena sashayed into the chorus line. Band leaders Duke Ellington and Cab Calloway were now her teachers. Edna chaperoned and coached Lena with her singing. Before long, Lena leaped from the chorus line to Broadway in Dance with Your Gods. Then came a singing and dancing gig with the Noble Sicily Society Orchestra. Classy as they were, the black band still had to enter white ballrooms through the back door and could not stay at white hotels. For a place to sleep after the shows, band members had to scout for black families willing to take in a few musicians for the night. With Sissel, 18-year-old Lena cut her first record, "I Take to You." Lena took to the spotlight so well that she was soon fronting an all-white big band, one of the first black vocalists to do so. Touring with the Charlie Barnett Orchestra was far from glamorous, though. Lena was banned from the bandstand between numbers, restaurants refused to serve her, and hotels refused her rooms, and she slept in the bus until Barnett got wise. He began introducing her as Cuban, but that didn't take the sting out of racism. Although Lena despised Jim Crow laws, she did her part for the war effort, singing on armed forces radio shows. But even the military was segregated. Just as there were separate bathrooms, water fountains, and waiting rooms in the South, there were separate shows, one for the black troops and another for whites. At one venue, Lena was denied a cup of coffee, but was asked for autographs on her way out. At another, German prisoners of war were seated in the front of black soldiers. This indignity was too much for Lena to swallow. She was fed up with white-only clubs and theaters. So she paid her own way to perform for black troops. She paid many visits to the base in Alabama where the famed Tuskegee Airmen were training to become the first black military aviators. After World War II, Lena's ties to outspoken activists like entertainer Paul Robeson and civil rights leader W.E. Webb Du Bois got her blacklisted. Though not communist, she couldn't get work in Hollywood. Not during Senator Joe McCarthy's Red Scare. She sang at President Truman's inaugural ball just the same. By then, Lena had married and divorced and had 2 children to feed. She had to work. "You got babies," singer Billie Holiday once told her. "You gotta pay the rent." Like Cora said, never let anyone see you cry. Lena kept her tears and her love life to herself. In 1947, she married Lenny Hayton, a white music director for MGM. They married in Paris, France, because many states in the U.S. did not allow interracial marriage. Lena and Lenny did not announce their marriage for 3 years. She later said that she married him to advance her career, but she learned to love him. With Lenny at her side, Lena toured nightclubs and became an international star. In 1957, her name came off the blacklist. Lena cut records, sang on TV, and starred on Broadway, but her most important work lay ahead. At a 1963 rally with Mississippi civil rights leader Medgar Evers, Lena sang the spiritual "This Little Light of Mine." She found not only her voice, but a calling, her light. Days later, Evers was slain. Down but unbowed, Lena drew on her freedom-fighting roots. She took time off from the stage and screen to join the civil rights movement. She sang at rallies for the National Council of Negro Women, at the March on Washington where Dr. King gave his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. Lena spoke one word into the microphone: freedom. In this battle, Lena was not just a pretty face, she was a foot soldier. Eventually, the star returned to the silver screen and Glinda the Good Witch in The Wiz and to Broadway. In an award-winning one-woman show, Lena even sang on Sesame Street to a certain green frog. Her crown silvery gray, Lena kept cutting records and winning praise. Grammy and Tony Awards, a Kennedy Center honor, honorary degrees from Howard University and Yale, and a big place in the big band and Jazz Hall of Fame. Lena Horne's pioneering performances, her fight on the front lines of the freedom struggle, the racial barriers that she broke, and her fiery spirit form her legacy. Because Lena refused to darken rear doors, black stars now gleam on red carpets and reap box office gold. And that's the story of Lena Horne. Thank you for watching.